Hello, Stephen Sashin from Zero Shoes, XEROshoes.com, with one of my Q&A sessions. This is something, by the way, I'm starting right now, but I'm saying it as if I've been doing it for a while. I get questions about barefoot running, barefoot walking, zero shoes, minimalist shoes, running form, every day, and I've decided it's time to start putting these on the air, both in video and text format, so that people can see them and find out more information about this whole topic. Clearly, I'm just doing this off the cuff. I'm not preparing. I obviously don't care how I look or what my office looks like. Just want to jump in with the questions. And today we're going to start with a question that I got on Facebook from Ben. I'm looking over here because I have another monitor right there. So Ben asks, he says, I have a pair of your sandals and I really enjoy the freedom, strength, and all-around sensation that I get running free, exclamation point. I agree with him, by the way. Then he says, my only hurdle has been stepping on rocks or on the ball or knuckle of my feet and bruising and irritating the nerves because I have bouts with Morton's Neuroma, and whenever I land on that spot with a rock or hard object, I'm back to my cushy runners. Am I destined to be a shod runner, or maybe in time my feet will toughen up? Any advice would be helpful. Thank you, Ben. So, since he's asking about Morton's Neuroma, I probably not surprisingly have to announce I am not a doctor. I do not play one on TV or anywhere else for that matter. The only thing I can do is share my experience since I've been running and walking barefoot or in zero shoes for the last 5.5 years. And here are the 4 things that I've noticed that have happened for me. One, my feet have gotten stronger and more flexible. Not too surprising, really, because you're actually getting to use your feet when you're barefoot or in zero shoes. But what was surprising once was I was at a convention for chiropractors, and the guy who was leading the convention said to the other chiropractors, if you have to pay Stephen, give him $5 to let him let you feel his feet. That's an awkward sentence, but you get the idea. I made no money, no one paid me, but I did have a lot of people grabbing my feet and giving me a massage, which was awesome, and all commenting that my feet had gotten really strong and yet were really flexible, which reminded me of, if you've seen Cirque du Soleil, one of the early shows, I think it was in Saltimbanco, I've seen them all, there was this hand balancing act, two brothers, a big blonde guy and a still pretty big brunette guy, and I met the blonde guy after the show once. He's the guy who holds up his brother with his hands, and I assumed that shaking his hand it was going to be like grabbing a brick, but it was the exact opposite. It was like grabbing a bag of marshmallows, and really meaty and strong, but really flexible, and I realized that's what my feet are like now. And the interesting thing about this is it means that when I walk or run on certain surfaces that used to be painful, they're not, because my foot is now bending and flexing around that and being strong. So there's, right outside of our front door, there's a bunch of gravel that I used to not be able to walk on when I first got started. Now it's like not a problem, and it's not because my feet have gotten tougher, I've developed calluses, quite the opposite. They're actually more sensitive, and I'll talk about that in a second, and they're more flexible and responsive. So strength and flexibility, that's the first thing that I noticed. Second thing, my reflexes seem to have gotten faster. So if I step on something, I mean, we all have that reflex to just recoil from something painful, and I've noticed that when I step on things, it feels like that reflex is a little faster. Now, this is clearly something that could be tested over time, and I would love to help make that test happen. So right now, it's just an anecdote about my experience and what it seems like to me. So that's the second thing that's been helpful. A third thing is, my gait has changed. So instead of just landing and slamming on my heels and then slapping the rest of my foot on the ground, I still will often land heel first, not always, but often. But I don't put pressure on my foot mostly until my foot is entirely on the ground. And what that means is that there's more surface area and more places touching more things, so that if there's something painful right here, there's other places that my foot can put pressure to relieve that. That goes back to the strength and flexibility thing. And when there's more surface area, that's also just reducing the amount of force. So that's a third thing that's changed. And fourth, I pay more attention to where I'm putting my feet. I don't just throw them in the air and see where they land. Now, I'm not staring at the ground and constantly looking to see where my feet go. I think it's peripheral vision and just the sensation, just being aware of the feeling on the bottom of my feet that allows me to respond, pull off if I need to, put more pressure if I can, change exactly where my foot is applying force to the ground, etc. So those are the 4 things that I've noticed. I think I said there to Ben, I hope that's helpful in my response, and I hope that's helpful for you as well. Let me hear what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube or on our blog, add some comments. What have you noticed since you've been going barefoot, whether it's barefoot walking or hiking, or if you're in Xero shoes. What changes have you experienced? Share that and let's see what we all discover. So thank you very much. Again, hope that was helpful. And as always, have fun and feel the world.